improvement. I don't know, it's so stinking cold in the old jail. My God, man. I had to go outside to get warm. No, actually, no. It's getting ready to heat up. I've got desk machine sitting out back ready to fire. They should have fired up. I had a water main break.
Yeah.
God damn, I'm still cold. I was in there so long that it sunk into the bones, I think.
Do they have any estimate on how long they think that has been running?
Nope. Nobody has any idea. I know it's going there. The plan is to run it for 7 days to dry it out. Where's Tim?
Usually you get 3 to 5 is usually driving. 7 days is a lot.
It's dried out a bunch since the week, last week, a week ago.
They just gutted it. Did they didn't take the ceiling tiles out?
Not going to.
Okay, it's 5:30. I'm going to call the Tiffin Common Council meeting to order and begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First item on the agenda are the minutes of the last meeting.
I move to approve February 9th minutes as written. Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the minutes as submitted for the February 9th meeting. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Amendments for the agenda. I would ask that we have HWC here. We did receive the draft ordinance for today for consideration for the UDO, longstanding topic for the council. The council will find it appropriate to amend the agenda to add that ordinance to the agenda.
Still moved under new business.
Second.
You want it under new business or under resolutions and ordinances?
I don't care. 6 1/2 dozen.
We'll add in the ordinances and resolutions.
Okay, we'll put
There's a motion and a second to amend the agenda to add the UDO ordinance for first reading. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Second meeting of the month will begin with the Board of Works and Safety.
We met today. First thing we did was approve, it's the same route they come on every year for the baseball parade. And then we got some pretty extensive updates from police and fire. First with fire, we're down 3 members. One's on short-term disability, should be returning soon. The 2 other vacancies we have, we're just waiting for them to go through. They were hired 2 weeks ago. Ladder,
Engine
10, sorry, is in St. Louis. It had an electrical fire. We're not sure if it's from the manufacturer of the chassis or the manufacturer and assembler. We can operate okay with the other equipment we have, but hopefully we can get that back soon. Building progress is going well. They're about to start the showers on the fire side, but the others are pretty much done, minus a couple punch items. Still looking like probably end of April-ish to wrap up that building. With the police side, we spent a little bit of time talking about we're losing 1 officer in April who's going to Westfield. We already started the process to backfill. We've had a couple applicants already. Our 2 new hires are at the academy doing really well. In fact, Officer Cameron Shank was named squad leader for his squad at the academy, which Chief said was a big deal. Demonstration of his leadership capability. And then we spent a good bulk of the time talking about public safety across the county, setting up what's called the First Responder Wellness Program. It's a joint effort between the jail, paramedics, EMTs, firefighters, both full-time and voluntary, sheriff's deputies, city officers, town marshals, dispatchers, EMA. And this committee basically is a way for, we're going to start hopefully with, they're going to start with providing free mental health services or officers or anybody in public safety. It's anonymous, it doesn't have to go through leadership. They've already received a grant from the foundation, and the ask was to work with the city to help set up the C3. Obviously, the city's not going to set up the C3, but they wanted financial contribution. They thought it'd be less than $1,000. So the council would look for money and then figure out the logistics of how to pay that. Of course, it's still have to be voted on. The other updates I'll leave for the mayor's report.
Very good. Golf Advisory has not met. The Tipton Partnership has not had its quarterly meeting yet. Solid Waste met today, took care of some other organizational business, but we did hear a presentation from Trust in Indiana. It's a trust fund available to municipalities, units of government across the state of Indiana. Some funding that the solid waste has that could be best served in that fund as it seeks, with some of the impacts of SCA 1, could seek to help stabilize some of its funding. So the board took action to approve that. And I think that largely concluded the solid waste meeting. Streetlights and Sidewalks Committee has not been convened. Planning Commission, Mr. Voltaw.
Yeah, we met the 12th. Pretty much the biggest discussion was this ordinance 2026-01 for the UDO. We did do elections, officers. Other than that, it was a requirement.
Very good. Utility Board, Mr. Rippey is absent today due to illness. You do have that packet, or that report from the utility in your packet tonight. Youth Council, I did have the luxury of going with the Youth Council last Friday on their semester kickoff. I call it a field trip. And we went to Newfelds as part of that for our second year in a row. And they're actually convening tonight as a group to kick off their semester projects formally. So looking forward to some positive outcomes of that meeting. Any other boards or committee reports this evening? Moving on to new business. First and only item under new business, Jack Wagons Car Club, Heath Moreland.
Thank you very much for having me. My apologies, my anxiety has just really jumped up right now, so I will apologize there. I wanted to come to you, and I actually wanted to thank Rob as well from Tipton Main Street with the current operating agreement with the green space downtown. There are some areas that kind of pinches us a little bit in that agreement with how we do cruise-ins on the first Fridays. So I have already spoken with Rob and the Main Street to see if there's maybe a way for us to work through some of those hard areas. But I also wanted to come in front of you, since the agreement was brought before this board, and see, make sure that you understand how our events work, why we do what we do, and if there's anything really that you could advise from, especially last year's cruise-ins that maybe the city did not like, maybe something that you wanted to see us clean up, just something that would help ourselves and Main Street come to an agreement of how that's going to work for 2026. The points of contention for Jack Wagons, as you know, we brought in our own mobile stage last year. We actually purchased that stage before we were aware of the stage that's there now. Now, through feedback of our participants, we continue to average over 30 towns and cities being represented with the people that come to the cruise-ins. Last year, we had our highest number of roughly 130 cars on the property. What's exciting about that for us is that while Brian Robertson and I do a lot of social media advertising and marketing, the new cars that we continued to run into last year were word of mouth. Not all of our old timers are very, I don't know what
tech savvy.
They're not super familiar with navigating much more than Facebook and email. So, but we have a lot of word of mouth. People really enjoy coming to Tipton. So what we would like to do, if we can work it out with Main Street, well, let me back up. One of the things that was brought forward in May, we parked our stage on the green space itself. And that was the only one that we did that. We did move it to the north parking lot there between the green space fence and Jefferson Street. So just some areas of clarification is that, is the north parking lot, is that supposed to be under the operating agreement of the green space? If we can come to an agreement, we would like to continue putting our stage there on the south edge of the north parking lot next to the fence rail, looking south. And that alignment comes up from the 3 years prior of speaking with our car show participants, that it is a great thing for them to be able to be close to their car and look up and see the band's face at them. In fact, last October, we had the band from Fairmount that has played the James Dean Festival several times, and they mentioned that this might be the first car show they've ever been to where they could actually see cars. So, again, I'm just here advancing conversation in hopes to, again, continue doing what we did last year with our stage where it is. Although I personally I've never paid the deposits for that come and go. I've spoken again with Rob and the board. I can do that. I'll play ball with the city and with Main Street. That's fine. But again, so if there's any feedback, well, let me back up here. Through the Christmas tree lighting, it was discovered that there is a power pedestal that can be placed near the north end. That's a godsend for us, rather than running 250-foot, 200-foot power cords across the lawn and a trip hazard for everybody. So if we're able to continue there, that issue is already resolved. Again, the only time that we parked on the green space was in May with the irrigation system. It's like, it's not worth the risk. Let's just move it back around. This is great. Another good point for us is that our stage is 34 inches off the ground. So if we do have a night where it's a good crowd, or again, people further back, with our stage being a little bit higher, it does create a better natural concert environment being a little higher. So again, I'll just ask, I did buy trim for us to cover the stage temporarily with either magnets or screws, but there's only one of me. I haven't cloned myself yet. We are trying to clean up even the backside edge in case it's a worry about, as cars are driving through, does the back of the stage look bad? I mean, we love the stage. The concrete with the wooden post, and then it was stained. We think it looks great. It just doesn't work for what we do. People don't want to leave a classic car much more than about 15 feet down to they'll sit with their friends 4 cars over, but they will not walk 40 yards and leave it for 2 hours. So I would cherish any feedback, and even just to help the city. I hope you know that we are literally invested in the city and to grow downtown. If there's anything that we can do to make it better, anything that we can do to work with Main Street, to continue doing what we love in a place that our people love. Our Facebook grouping grew from January 2025. We had 750 followers. We're currently over 1.6 thousand. So good things are coming this way, and we just want to keep doing that. Do you have any feedback for us?
The only question I have, does that interfere with the movie theater parking? Are you guys gone before they start?
No, because the concert does go up to 8 p.m. Yeah.
That would be my only question, because they do use that.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big time for the theater.
Yeah, so now what happens, where our stage is parked, when it's parked across the front row of the gate, I mean, that's a 24-foot stage by 8 foot, and then we add 4 foot depth, 8 foot risers. That probably does take 5 of the spots at least right there by the gate. And then any of the band members that roll in to set up, that they park there next to the stage.
You haven't applied for closure for this year, have you? I
No,
don't remember.
nothing
What's
different this year.
what's your first date?
They are first Fridays of May. So
Starting May?
it's May 1st, June 5th, and then we skip July, whatever that is, August 7th, I think, and then October 3rd, just off the top of my head.
So I would propose, if we could, since we got a little bit of time, but before May 1st, so it's not the first time the Board of Works is trying to solve this problem, is I'm willing to help. Maybe we can meet with the Main Street organization to just come up with a problem. So first of all, I appreciate not going to Facebook first and just, I don't want us to get really mad. I appreciate you reaching out to the Main Street. I'm sure we can come up with hopefully something, but it'd be better to solve it now than wait till the Board of Works. And it's like, hey, we want to close for these dates. Then we have to make a decision in that 40-minute meeting without involving the Main Street. So we've got time.
Okay.
The only feedback I had, my kids love the cars. Like, you guys, I've never seen it trash after. You guys
Well,
take care of everything. So
Brian and I typically don't get out of there until after 10 p.m. every night.
The only other hiccup I know of is closing it before 4 o'clock.
Well, since you brought that up, let me address that. In October, Kevin Steiner came out to me and was upset because I closed it at 3:30. So if you remember, there was construction going on all over the place in the parking lots and on Court Street, where there was literally bobcats with blades backing up and forth in Court Street. The city department came through and told me to close it. So on one hand, I've got the city department saying close it, but then I've got Kevin Steiner screaming, everybody thinks we're closed. And my response was, is the west side of the building not open, and does it not have parking? Does it not have parking? Now, I understand that. I went before the county commissioners and I said, we'll close it at 4 p.m. But again, the street department came in and said, actually, they told me to close it at 3 because there's so much movement. They were moving gravel, they were moving topsoil, there was trailers everywhere. I am quite honestly surprised that you guys didn't close it because of the activity on Court Street.
Well, they were doing the handicap ramp, that's when they was doing the handicap ramp.
Yeah.
Right, but they were actually loading that literally from the Bobcat parked on Court Street. So I mean, I understand the contention.
Well, it's not been just that one time, but it's caused issues with people leaving that area, because when they block off the alley and stuff, people have to drive off the curb to get out of the parking lot that last time.
Shouldn't be.
Because they block it down at the end of Court Street, and that's where everybody
Well-
leaves to go out.
Okay, so let me ask, do you call restricted being blocked or?
Sometimes they was telling them they couldn't go through there.
Okay, then that is something that, okay, thank you for that feedback. Because I will definitely have to address that with my people, because yes, they should be allowed to be able to leave. And if it's obviously not a show car, I don't think you guys do cotton teasers and stuff on Fridays, do you?
Well, you never
So,
know.
all right, so they should be able to look through and
No.
see that that's okay.
But, you know,
Fair
I
enough.
love the car show down there. I think it's a great thing for the whole town, the whole city. And people do love it. I mean, when it's loaded, it's loaded.
Yeah.
And when you had them 130 cars down there, there was a lot of people,
Yeah,
a lot.
a lot of this could just be solved with better communication.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
okay.
not
yeah.
not placing the blame on you guys.
No,
Okay.
Yeah, it's all around.
But no, I hope we can resolve that as well, as that, last few years, we've had a few different people intermittently handling registration, which is right here at Court in Madison. That should be the same 2 people all year long this year. So, but that is something that I will call Brian tonight and say, hey, this is an area for us.
But sometimes you get employees, they seem to think that they need to stay until 5 o'clock to work and
It's okay.
go home at 4 o'clock on that Friday.
At the end of the day, we're still in their work area, so. And we can bet, I don't know if you've seen any of our posts, but we're already telling people, do not arrive until 4:30 at the earliest.
Right.
And we
Sometimes
got
they do,
one
yeah.
club that we know of shows up at 3:30 every time, so.
Okay.
Yeah, so,
Awesome job, Bill.
all right, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Very
So
good.
unless you have any other feedback, that's all I just wanted to hit you with today.
Yeah, be looking out for communication from us, and
Okay.
very good.
Thank you all for your time.
Thanks, Heath.
Thank you, appreciate you.
No items under old business. Under mayor's report, a few items to discuss. The first is a press release that went out today, I believe, regarding the city's designation for a historic district. This has been a project, I believe, 3 years in the making. So it finally received not only the state's endorsement, but then the federal government's. It's gone through the federal government's at least one shutdown so far. So it's caused a little bit of a delay. What this does do in hosting these sessions with DNR, it enables these downtown property owners to become applicable for some historic preservation grants to fix up their properties. Also, tax credits are made available because of this designation. So it not only helps the property owners who want to go through the effort of fixing up their properties, but also in some of our downtown redevelopment, historic redevelopment efforts that we're exploring and looking at. It actually supports those efforts. But then I think in the biggest misnomer that we discussed in some of these public meetings with the downtown property owners, it doesn't limit their use of their properties in any way. It only does so if they chose to go after a grant or to apply for these tax credits. That's when the extra obligations or expectations come into play. But to just own their property as they do today, this doesn't impact that in any manner. So a good thing for downtown Tipton. This was on Indiana Landmarks designation of top 10 priorities in the state of Indiana. So of course they've been extremely supportive and helpful in this effort. Second is our LPA application over this last year was approved, and we were provided that award notice last week. That new project scope will extend. We of course have our first LPA, which project areas from Buck Creek on the west side to Independence to the east. This application now extends that project area from Independence on the western side and Ash Street to the east. So it gets us all the way to within the project scope that NDOT had scoped as end of life. This will allow us the funds available to make that full rebuild, to get the full roadway reconstructed to modern standards. Speaking of LPA 1, we did have a meeting today with Structure Point Engineering. We were working through another conflict area with utilities. So as our project extends from east to west, we do have some significant sewer laterals that run north and south. So today we had another meeting just to discuss solutions for one of those instances, and then discuss the project as it regards to a public hearing or a public meeting to start letting the community engage and provide input on that project that we currently have scope for construction letting in 2028 and construction in 29. There was some hope and belief that we could get this backed up to a letting in 27, construction in 28, but now NDOT has 2 roundabout projects scoped within this county, actually near the city of Tipton, for 2028. So due to the public safety concerns, we're probably going to extend this construction out to 29 as originally thought, so we don't have Division 19 closed, 28 and 213 closed, and the city of Tipton closed during the 2028. Additionally, last update for me is the baseball field project. We're currently in the process. We have the complete application from the baseball leagues regarding something to do with the health departments or food handling permit or such. So we needed that to actually issue the local permit for the project. So that completes the local permit process. We've got our DNR permit to allow the project to continue on. So we're now scoping what that groundbreaking date might be, and that's all going to be weather dependent. We're eyeing somewhere toward the end of March, again, knowing that the schools spring break is that last couple days of March into April. It could bleed into the first part of April, but we're now at the point of the project to discuss groundbreaking. So be on the lookout for that. You all will certainly get an invitation to participate in that. We're now at the resolutions and ordinances for this evening, and we'll start with the resolutions. The first is Resolution 2026-04. It's a resolution adopting the 2026 Sidewalk Improvement Program and funding. This is an annual item for this council, and I'll just note that this year we are adding an additional $25,000 for areas where there's non-existing sidewalks. We do have a couple applications, and frankly, I've had a couple of applications for several years for new sidewalks. So this additional will allow us to start addressing those areas.
I move we approve resolution 2026-04.
We have a motion and a second to approve resolution 2026-04. Any further questions?
This, well, I guess the first page where it says replacement sidewalks down there at the bottom. Is that new?
You said on page 4?
Oh, right there. You got it. The percentages of the way that's done.
We changed that. It's probably different than the one you saw. We changed that last year.
Okay.
Dylan kind of redid
Correct.
it based on
I
some
just
pacer
never seen it
ratings and
before.
stuff.
You know, I don't really play it, looks to me like it's extremely flexible.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so now there's an assessment that's made. Once an application is received, we go out and inspect it. And
Give it a rating.
70-30 or something.
Mhm.
Drove on, yeah.
correct. All right, there's a motion and a second to approve resolution 2026-04. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is resolution 2026-05, resolution prepared by clerk treasurer with a list of old outstanding checks.
Move to approve 2026-05. Second. These are just checks that didn't get cashed, right? Or checks.
Mhm.
There's been a motion and a second to approve resolution 2026-05. Any further questions? All those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is ordinance 2026-01. It's an ordinance to adopt the Unified Development Ordinance. We do have HWC with us this evening. You can provide a brief presentation on the UDO.
Good evening, Brian Stumpf, HWC Engineering, and with me this evening is Lane Stumpf with Civic Corporate, sub-consultant on the project. And we're happy to present the UDO. This is a process that started last summer. We actually did an intake survey with our steering committee that helped guide us through the process of addressing issues for the updates of the ordinances. And essentially what the UDO does, it's a Unified Development Ordinance, short of UDO. It takes it takes a subdivision control ordinance and a zoning ordinance and puts them together. They're related ordinances. This gets rid of a lot of duplication, makes things very just cleaner and easier to use. So we began the process in August with our steering committee, had our first draft of the ordinance in September. In October, we worked with we had several meetings with the steering committee to refine the ordinance and bring that into alignment with the desires of the community. We had draft B of the ordinance was published on October 31st and has been available to the public since then. We did a presentation at the Planning Commission in November. And then from that point, any of the feedback we're getting with being on, we're calling a rata sheet, what changes to make to draft B. One of the things we have learned in doing this is between versions or drafts of the ordinance, especially for little changes, they can get confusing. So what the public draft that's out here for adoption is draft B plus the errata sheet and also the zoning ordinances. So the errata sheet began in November, had a second meeting with the Planning Commission in December, and then February 12th, we had a public hearing where the Planning Commission is forwarding this to the council with the unanimous favorable recommendation for the ordinance, the maps, and the errata sheet. Another copy. This is, a copy of the errata sheet that includes the 3 items that the plan commission approved. Are included in there. Amendment. Anyone else want a copy?
That's the one that's in our.
Yes, correct.
So the 3 items, just so we got it here on the record, is it was good because we had at the meeting on February 12th, we had some written comments as well. And so we went through each of those items that the gentleman had written in and sort of addressed those comments. And that led to some changes, things that are different on the errata sheet than what you may have seen previously. And on page 2, chapter 5, adjusting 5.3A1, this is regarding architectural standards for small scale buildings, just clarifying that it's really looking at duplexes to quadplexes that are on an unplatted lot. And then top of page 3, clarifying that in section 513C that addresses utilities, utilities must be installed underground in designated utility easements or rights of way unless otherwise waived in writing by the administrator. And that came up just because not all of the utility installations by your power company are necessarily underground. Overall, as a general rule, yes, you have to have them underground, but that's not necessarily the case. And then finally, in chapter 6, in 6.1 A3, this is a section that deals with fences. A lot of discussion on this about what is a great sort of equitable balance of how do we begin. Fences, as you know, can become a huge hot button issue. It can become quite a headache for the city if someone's put it in the wrong spot or on a neighbor's property, and then the city, people are wondering, well, why the city approved the permit, things of that nature. So this, what you see here in red, essentially what this section identifies, if a fence is going to be installed on a property line or within 3 feet of a property line, then you either have to get a survey of the property, which we know can be expensive, or essentially a letter from the neighbor saying, yes, that location's fine. And that's just a way to do that. And a lot of concern, the planning commission, what if not getting along with my neighbors, the whole reason I want the fence. And so that's how we addressed that. And then we did add or clarify that the repair or replacement of the existing fence is exempt from this requirement. So someone's doing maintenance on the fence or replacing it, that's not a problem. You don't have to go through that process. But those are the few changes that came out of the planning commission. I'm available for any questions you may have.
These changes are all reflected in the final ordinance.
Yeah, so what will happen is when the ordinance gets adopted, we will create the adopted version of the ordinance, which will incorporate these changes on the errata sheet and then include all the hyperlinks and everything through the in the UDO itself.
Any question for Brian? Any questions from the council?
No, I would like to thank the steering committee, the planning commission, but especially Mike Bowman. Mike was finding stuff that you would only find if you read it 15 times. And so I appreciate the community involvement and then community involvement some more. And I know some people may not understand why we split from the planning commission, but that ship's kind of sailed. This is just the next step for us to be able to have, in my opinion, more control, better ordinances, better code enforcement eventually. So.
I want to thank everybody that was involved in it. It was an exercise. Mike got beat up. We all got beat up. So it was I think we're there.
It's been my experience that planning and zoning is the most difficult thing in local government. It's just difficult. And I think they've done a great job on this.
That being said, I move to approve 2026-01.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve on first reading ordinance 2026-01. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Who seconded that?
I did.
Motion carries. Next, we're at claims.
Rick's not here.
I move to approve claims, claim number 181-635 to 181-752. in the amount of $1,322,311.38.
We have a motion and a second to approve claims this evening. Any questions?
I thought I had one, but I actually may have gotten answered earlier, so. No, I'm good.
All those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. No abstention, correct?
No.
We're now at petitions, comments, and memorials.
My name is Bradley, and I live at 224 Top Street. I wanted to ask, on the sidewalks and stuff that are gonna be going in, if the city could look at maybe extending the sidewalk right there at the Duck Creek Bridge to Taft Street or down to Wilson, because there's no sidewalk to connect that area to the sidewalk at Sweetland.
So while not in that specific area, we are scoping a project on that west side because you identified that little quadrant of the city is void of sidewalks. So we are trying to make some meaningful effort to address that this year, but I'll document that because one of the things we want to be mindful of is property owners' willingness or interest in having sidewalks in front of their properties. So that would
Yeah,
help.
I've seen a couple moms pushing strollers through
On
that
the roadway.
area, but they can't get across the bridge to even want to walk the trails or walk to the
Yep.
park or downtown because
Yep.
they'd have to go out into the road.
right.
So that was something I wanted.
That's good feedback. I appreciate that.
And then on the new EDO that you guys are passing, will there be like a link to where, as a contractor, I can go on and look at certain ordinances, building ordinances and stuff online?
Correct. So now as we're going through this process, part of that contract with HWC is helping us to get what that page will look like. And in fact, we've discussed internally about hosting some listening sessions or teaching sessions with local contractors to
Okay.
provide just a little bit of an update on what may or may not have changed, what are things that are good to keep an eye on as we move forward. So keep an eye on that too. We might be able to get that done in Q1 of this year or Q2, early Q2.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thanks, Brad. Bob?
Is there a walkway on either side of the bridge?
I think the
It's
bridge itself,
Pretty rough.
yeah, it does technically have a walkway, but I don't think there's access.
Yeah, people
To
tend to just walk in the street.
Correct.
It's so bad.
Well, that's what I said, because I, taken the car down there and walked home, and it's difficult to
Yeah.
get that bridge.
Correct.
And then past it, yeah, there's no sidewalk over to the
Yeah.
Wilson Street subdivision.
So
Is
it
there
probably
a
needs,
Possibility of maybe putting in like a walk bridge or something? Like maybe similar to what you guys did at the park? It doesn't have to be that extravagant that can connect.
but like you mentioned, the one at the park, I'd asked someone related to the project. They said that something to, we of course can't do that, but to address that, because I do think that's a good point on
We could tip over a
walkability.
telephone pole.
Get across. Bob Edinger, Tipton. Back to the baseball field. I assume, and I'm probably lying here, I assume the design and everything is done.
That's correct. Yes, as part of that BOT process that we went through, that was to select the general contractor and the architect engineer for the project. So yeah, the design of the facilities has been done and actually bids have been received in accordance to those designs. So what was promoted on social media and our latest press release about the project is as close as that project's going to look. There may be some minor changes to it, but that is the project.
You said you had bids. Have them been awarded yet or no?
Not formally yet. So what we're working through now is confirming the language for the guaranteed maximum price. Once that guaranteed maximum price is confirmed by the Board of Works and Council, then they'll begin to award those subcontractor bids for the work to be done.
Is there a time frame on awarding them bids approximately?
At this point, it's more of a formality because they've been in conversation with these folks since October. So they know who the bidders are and have critiqued their bids as much as possible to make sure that we got the best price possible. So once that guaranteed maximum price is agreed to, then Build BW will reach out to those subcontractors to award them that.
It might be important to highlight that this isn't us acting as a GC, so we don't gather the bids.
Correct.
We've awarded a GC to do all that. And we tell them this is the most we can pay, then it's their job to find subcontractors that meet kind of those line items and stuff.
Correct.
Because to your point, if we did this all ourselves, we would never get all the bids in before
Correct.
the end of the year. Take forever, so.
Okay. Okay, that clears that up. Thank you. As far as the car club goes, hopefully you can work out whatever they need, or, 'cause I think they do a good job up there. They bring in all sorts of good stuff to look at, and I'd hate to guess what the investment in that stuff is.
Sure.
But I think it'd be a good thing to keep them coming. And with your plan stuff you just did, I think it's just a great thing that we have our own plan department and we can stick to working for the city. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
I just have one question. Roberta Heinzman.
Roberta?
Excuse me. Tipton. Did the planning and the zoning meetings are still going to remain on the same schedule?
Yes.
Same time, everything?
Yep.
Did we send our contribution to the state to get the Bears to move to Hammond?
Our bid was apparently not as attractive as Hammond's.
You can't move the Bears out of Soldier Field.
Absolutely you can.
No,
Place is a dump.
no, you can't do that.
I move we adjourn.
I had something I
Oh, better be about the Bears.
We'll hold your motion.
And I don't know if you found out anything, the ordinance allowing the planned unit development west, is it nullified now?
No, so the action will be to get through the 2 readings of the UDOs to make sure that it's in place, and then we'll entertain rescinding the PUD.
No one's forgot it.
No, just getting through the order that, yeah, Mr. Bowman has not forgotten either. So we're just an order of operations.
He probably think he has more interest than me, but.
Maybe.
One more question before you guys adjourn. On the new zoning for the city.
Yep.
What does that mean for the taxpayers? And does it really change anything?
Not from a taxpayer perspective, other than there's been some minor modifications to the zoning map, but that wouldn't impact your zoning class. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, because I was in your office today looking at the zoning map and everything was labeled, there was multiple different zoning ordinances, and I did trying to understand what that means.
Some of it is even trying to add some more zoning classes. For instance, there's now a formal downtown zoning class, or even I think on the east side of commercial. So it's trying to create some more delineation between those groups,
Okay.
because there would be different expectations. But I do think we added another residential zoning class too
Okay.
in our zoning map. So no major impacts to, other than for us, it allows some more. We can require some different expectations from areas now because of the different zoning classes, rather than just saying all this is commercial, all this is industrial.
But I believe, and we may want to confirm with Shannon, zoning doesn't dictate your property tax, your use does.
Correct.
So if something's zoned commercial, but you live there and you're allowed to live there, you're taxed at the 1%.
Correct.
Okay.
So it shouldn't affect property tax.
Correct.
If you're asking like, are we going to pay more for it? My understanding is if you look at the budget, it's almost a net zero. So to me, it was a value proposition. Like before we were sharing, and I like sharing services with the county, but we know we have some code enforcement issues. We have sometimes I'm sure you've been in there trying to get a permit and it's confusing to read the ordinances and we can't undo them ourselves.
Yeah.
So it became, is it more valuable for us to have a full-time code enforcement officer versus 5 to 10 hours a week? Is it more valuable for us to control and be able to quickly change ordinances if we need to? And to me, that value is, yeah, it seems pretty good. It's not like we doubled the cost of the planning department or anything like that.
Well, that was and stuff that we had talked about. Like,
Thank you all for coming.